the Pokemon trading card game is something I never really understood as a kid. And now, here I am at the ripe old age of 29, diving right back into the fray. To keep things interesting, I'm going to stick to buying sealed product. No trades, no singles, no easy way out. With a budget of just $50 a week, I'm going to build the best competitive deck I can, and see how it stacks up against the pros. Hey everyone, and welcome back to another week of paying a premium for shiny cardboard and battling with faceless strangers online. This week I found myself in a bit of a weird situation. I was at my local Walmart and I was basically crouching down on the floor trying to find loose packs or theme decks or tins, whatever that had fallen under there. And, I kind of had to look at the position I put myself in, quite literally, and ask myself, am I seriously doing this right now? I'm pushing 30, and I'm literally sinking to new lows to try and get some Pokemon cards. It's cool, but also kind of disturbing how easily I've been able to slide back into this TCG, and thanks to the disposable income that comes with an adult, pursue it to a level that would make my 10-year-old self, go crazy. I mean, it was a thing back in like the 90s and the early 2000s when the trading card game was really popular. You would beg your parents every week to get that one $5 booster back. And here I am walking out of my local card shop or Walmart with like 8 or 9 every week. Definitely something to reflect upon. But hey, it has been nice that I've been able to turn this, hobby of mine into my own little slice of YouTube. I'm still surprised to see how far I've been able to take Pokemon sealed only. Obviously, I'm not the first guy to do it. I doubt I will be the last. But show's been going for a while. I do think I've made it my own thing. I've stuck it out. And look, the channel just hit the 50 subscriber mark, which, yes, is not a lot in the grand scheme of things compared to what some channels are doing on here. But I'll tell you what, does wonders for my ego. And it's making the effort that went into making these 14 episodes so far feel really worth it. Now, looking ahead, I have been thinking for a while about how far I am going to take the series. For me, the minimum was to get to 8 episodes, because I just didn't want this to be another sealed only series that went for a little bit and then burned out quickly, right? Not my intention at all. Now, I had been hoping that locals would come back and I'd be able to wrap the series up by playing some games IRL, with the actual cards that I've been paying all this money for. But alas, Canada is slipping back into lockdown pretty much everywhere, and my local card shops are not keen on having in-person tournaments at the moment. Not with the crazy fines they're slapping down anyway. So, while I had hoped to make my IRL debut in the finale, I don't think that's an option, but since I also don't want the show to just devolve into tweaking ratios in the deck every week, until this basically becomes a soap opera, I do think it's best to wrap things up soon. So, all that said, here's the plan. I'm going to wrap up Season 1, yes, you heard me right, with Episode 16. And to wrap it up, I'm going to take my cue from longtime fan of the show, Peter Hughes, and wrap things up by entering a tournament. Now, obviously, this is going to be a tournament on PTCGO because IRL tournaments are not a thing. But hey, I think it's the closest we're going to get to the real thing, and it is a very different challenge than just random matches on the ladder. So, it'll be a nice test, I think, of our weird little Pikarom deck, and I'll be able to see how it fares in a somewhat competitive environment, where I'm not able to change the list, do anything like that. It's just take my deck in and see if I can clear the 3 or 4 wins to earn myself some prizes, whatever they are on PTCGO now. So yeah, that's basically the plan. Now, obviously, I'm not going anywhere after Season 1 of the show wraps up. I've already got a new series in mind. There's this little corner of the TCG called Expanded that I'm really keen to try out. So, don't worry. This channel is going to keep on trucking. I would love to do some deck profiles, try out some rogue decks, just kind of cleanse my palette of Pikarom a little bit and try some fun new things, because I've been collecting quite a few cards when I'm not gambling on booster packs, basically. And I'd like to show you guys what I'm looking to do with those. And, before I keep going, I really have to say thank you to all of you guys for showing up and sticking around. You guys keep me going, and by going, I do mean spending more than I probably should on the children's card game. But seriously, the show wouldn't have gotten this far without you guys, and I really can't express how grateful I am. Okay. Enough of the sappy stuff. I know I always get a little carried away with that. So let's get to what I'm sure most of you are here for, and we will crack some packs. Okay, ladies and gents, well, we had a bit of good luck this week. I managed to get myself 9, I believe, of these bad boys. Took a little looking around. I ordered them. They finally came in the other day. It is a sweet relief because there is so much we need in both Sword and Shield and Darkness Ablaze. Out of Sword and Shield, we're looking for Crushing Hammers in particular. And out of Darkness Ablaze, I know you're sick and tired of hearing this, but Crobat V and Vikavolt V, please. So anyway, I got the rest opened up off screen. We'll just crack this one open very quickly, and we will see if our pulls can be as blessed as they were last week. Now we are taking the Salamence line out because we're trying to play a little more seriously this week. Got to scratch that itch, play with the dragon, but now it's back to business, right? So let's see if we can set ourselves up with a very nice control-ish style Pikarom deck. And why don't we go with Sword and Shield first, because Crushing Hammers more than anything are what I'm looking for at the moment. So let's see. I'm a little rusty, guys. I am a little rusty. My apologies. 1, 2, 3, and it's 4, right? Okay. We got a Fighting Energy, Mantine. Hey, Crushing Hammer. Okay, we got a switch. This is the first one, and I think we've opened something obscene, like 30-40 packs. Sizzlipede, Wooloo, Grookey, Sobble, Rhyhorn, Reverse Hollow Krabby, and a Turtonator for the rare. All I needed to know. If we can get just one more, I will be happy with today's pulls. I know 4 is ideal because, you basically have to assume that, you're going to miss 50% of your flips, right? Which is why I see a lot of decks now, especially I believe Azul's Pikarom decks, they're running 4, right? Because that, at least in theory, gives you 2 Crushing Hammer hits, which could be enough to slow down Eternatus, right? Electrike, Larry Mr. Mime, Reverse Hollow Kangaskhan, and an Ampharos. As I'm fond of saying, Bubkiss. Alright. Can we get a second Crushing Hammer, please? What are the odds, folks? What are the odds? I mean, actually, it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world either if we could get that Tapu Koko V we were looking for ages ago. Not really necessary, but I'm holding a candle out for it. Would be really nice to get. We are Scorbunny, Reverse Hollow Lumberry, and Cramorant. I mean, in theory, you could full blitz to Cramorant, but then I don't know if you want to burn your 3 energy spit shotting to the bench, but still, that is a really nice pull. That is a very, very nice pull. Merits inclusion in a few other decks, I do believe. I do believe. Ugh. Okay. So not bad so far. Not bad so far. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, let's see what Darkness Ablaze gives us this time. Water, Steenie, Furret, Yellowhorn, Dunsparce, Electrike, Mr. Mime, Grimer, Clink, Liepard, and Hippowdon. Nothing in there. Okay. Come on. Second crushing hammer out of Sword and Shield. Can we get it? Can we get it? 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay. Dark Energy. Quickball, Mantine, Dottler, Goldeen, Diglett, Skorupi, Hoothoot, Scorbunny, Reversal Boltund, and Musharna. Ah, that's not even the good Boltund people have been talking about. The one that you can kind of tech in to deal with Obstagoon and Decidueye. I can't even remember if I've pulled any of those or not, to be honest. Still not convinced I'm going to give up the space in my deck to counter that one, like 1.5 archetypes. Yeah, I don't know. I would rather just take the auto loss and move on to other stuff. Right? Snubbull, Meltan, Chinder, Serena. Okay. Actually, I did see that Cramorant is getting a VMAX soon, which is interesting, if only because it, it opens up some more options, I think, for the card. Right now, it really only sees play in Firebox decks, Baby Blounds, that kind of thing, but with a slightly different attack. I mean, who knows? Could be doing something interesting, right? Reversal Switch, and a Hollow Professor's Research. Okay. We can rarity bump some stuff. That's always cool. That's always cool. Let's see. Crobat, Vikavolt, please. Or we're up for a good laugh. Maybe we can pull... Oh, boy. Maybe we can pull another Eternatus. Wouldn't that be something? Also, I am wondering if those the code card colors do still matter. A lot of people said they don't. I don't think that every holo I've ever pulled out of a pack has had a white-backed card, but I could be mistaken, right? Like, I believe they do that to prevent the weighing of packs, but I'm not sure. Oh, Reverse Holo Decidueye. Speak of the devil. I am actually building a Decidueye deck on the side for fun. I have 4 of the regular holos on hand because when I'm not doing the series, I save myself the money and the trouble and I buy singles, folks. But he might be a fun little addition to have, especially since we pulled him on sealed only. Okay, white back. Let's see if we do get a holo here. Right? Let's see what we got. Dark Energy, Pokegear, cool. Sudowoodo, Eldegoss, Goldeen, Diglett, Skorupi, Hoothoot, Scorbunny, Reversal Poltegeist, and, well, it is a holo, but it's a Sandaconda. So, nothing we can use there. Okay. Actually, Pokegear has been making a bit of a comeback too. I've noticed. I cut it almost immediately. Okay, let's see. I cut it almost immediately from the list early on because it never found that there were supporters I particularly needed to dig for, and Pikarom has other ways of digging through the deck pretty quickly. But now I don't know. I'm coming around on it again as a way to get a hold of a boss. Oh, full art Pokemon Breeders Nurturing. Absolutely useless for what we've got, but cool nonetheless. Building out our Mad Party roster. What does this actually do? Now that choose up to your Pokemon to play, search your deck from that evolves from them, and evolve it. Okay, so yeah, we don't play any evolutions, so not gonna do us any good. Not gonna do us any good. Okay, Sword and Shield. Give me... Oh, that's another one. Okay. Can I get a hammer? A hammer is more important than a big, shiny, full art card, to be honest. Lumberry, Aurora Energy. Not that we have any non-lightning attackers. Nickit, Chinchou, Reversal Thievul, and more Pico V. Ooh! Oh, look at that. That's the alternate art, right? I can't remember if we pulled one of these already or not. Like a more Pico V regardless. But still, that is very nice. That is getting sleeved up and going in the binder. I don't know if we can find a way to work it in, but... oh! Very, very nice addition to the binder. Okay. I have to say, not terrible pulls today. Not terrible pulls. Definitely not fire like last week. Oh my god, that's another white back. These Darkness Ablaze things. I think they do have a really high hit rate for rare cards. Right? That's why they're pushing them so hard, and they gave such a nice price. It's a good way to get you hooked, right? And upside down. That's interesting. Galarian Slowbro V. I think I have like 4 of those now, just from pulling for this series. Again, really cool. If we ever do that sealed only Eternatus deck, we'll have a bunch on hand. But doesn't really. Oh my God, doesn't really have a place in our Pikarom deck. We're not going for any poison shenanigans, right? I would just add a Zigzagoon in if I need that ping, you know, rather than playing a vulnerable Tube Riser to sit on the bench. Ukadi, Krabby, Grookey. Oh, Team Yell Grunt, we can use this and a Regirock V. This is actually more valuable. We can add one of these in to do some energy denial, and that is a nice one for the binder. That is a really nice one for the binder, actually. I've been trying to get a single of that, and they've been sold out. Someone went and gobbled up all the really good singles I'd had in my cart from my favorite singles shop. I was just looking at like fun decks I could build basically after the series was done, and Regirock was on there. I thought I could work it in somehow with like the Spiritomb archetype, but no dice there. Okay, nothing. I mean, from a collecting point of view, we're doing really well, and the Team Yell Grunt there is actually a nice touch, because we do desperately need that energy denial, so I will definitely be adding that in. And the hammer. Might be weird to have them at 1 each, but hey, you make do with what you got, right? Ooh, Drizzile, okay. Been looking for some of those too. Not for this. Ghastly, Reverse Hollow Pawniard, and a Lantern. Ooh, that's underwhelming. I really, really do wish more of the cards in any given Pokemon set. Oh my god, I am like annihilating this. I wish more of the cards in any given Pokemon set were competitively viable. I do feel like there is just a bunch of like filler, for lack of a better word. I know again that it's a kid's card game and all that, but like don't feel you have to give every Pokemon a card if you're not going to give them an interesting mechanic or way to be played, right? I mean, Dunsparce, Greedent. Okay. Was that Sword and Shield? No, that was Darkness Blaze. Okay, so yes. We got our last Sword and Shield, ladies and gents. Our last Sword and Shield. Okay. Let's see if we can get anything good. Still haven't gotten that Tapu Koko, right? So, it's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. Hitmonchan, Lanoon, Seeking, Krabby, Grookey, Mudbray, Hoot Hoot, Pincurchin, Cufant, and a Whimsicott. So no, a single Crushing Hammer. Out of 9 packs, we got a single Crushing Hammer. And yes, a Team Yell Grunt, so hey. We can finally bump down that Bird Keeper count. Alright. Can we go for broke here? And get ourselves the Vikavolt or the Crobat. I don't have a good feeling about this one, but let's see. Corvisquire, Hiding Darkness Energy, Fletchinder, Torchic, Starly, Skarmory, Pansage, Electrike, Nickit, and Arctovish. Yeesh. Okay, folks. Let's take a quick damage check here. See how we did. All right. Already have a bunch. Not applicable. Definitely going in. Maybe. Not applicable. Not applicable. Not applicable. Not applicable. Not applicable. Maybe add back in. Not applicable. Rarity bump. Rarity bump. Not applicable. Already got it. Definitely going in. Already got it. So that's the situation. Let me go then and get the rest of these sleeved up. I will finally sub in our first Crushing Hammer, ladies and gents, and our first Team Yell Grunt, and we will hop in and play some games. Well, we finally managed to get some energy denial on board, and that means the deck is finally taking on its, we'll say, final form. Obviously, Salamence is out as we make room for our single Crushing Hammer and our lonely Team Yell Grunt. It's not much, but I do think it's going to help in a pinch to buy us a turn, and given how fast the metagame is these days, that might be all we need. Now, looking at the major adjustments to the list, I've actually decided to drop most of the bird keepers and swap in some air balloons, just to ensure that our switching is less reliant on our supporter for the turn. Also, I'm trying to rely less on Jirachi because without the scoop up nets, the Jirachi engine is just a little too inconsistent for me. You're not always able to hit one of the 4 switches in your 60 card deck, and that can cause you to fall behind. So as much as possible, I'm going to try and hold off on Jirachi and just pivot around with my big guys. I've also added back the 2 reset stamps from the original deck, just to help us in those situations where we fall behind, which admittedly is often, given the general inconsistency of the deck. It's there to lessen the chance of a late game boss's orders ruining all of our fun. If I can stamp somebody down to 1 or 2 cards, then yeah, I might be able to, again, buy that 1 turn for us to get the game-winning KO. And really, that's it. Some familiar faces are back in, Hoopa, for example. And for the rest, it's just going to be trying to hit that turn 1 or turn 2 Tapu Koko energy switch combo to really get Pikarom going. And if we can do that, then, I think most of our games should go at least reasonably well. So with all that done, let's jump into some games and see how we do. Our first game this week pits Pikarom against the power of the sea. Now, I never know whether to take water deck boxes seriously because everybody is trying to do the head fake with their deck box right now, but in this case, we are in fact playing against a water deck. I lead Jirachi against a Lapras V, which makes me think that this is either a Lapras V Max deck, which has become more popular since Andrew Mahone highlighted it on his channel, or this might be an Inteleon V Max deck and the Lapras is their one-off attacker to deal with Zamazenta. Now, my opponent also reveals a Keldeo GX on the bench, which makes me think that this is probably just Lapras VMAX, but also makes me take note that there is a serious issue here on board because I can't damage that Keldeo with any of my GX Pokemon, which is most of my main attackers. That only leaves Boltund as the only Pokemon in my deck that can really deal some serious damage to it. Now, I put down Zapdos, and after drawing a bit off of the Speed Lightning energy, I do go and grab that Boltund right away and slapping down, knowing that I'm probably going to need to deal with the Keldeo before I can go swinging in against any Lapras or anything else my opponent might throw down. And with my board basically set up, I pass to my opponent. My opponent fetches a Snom, which means that Frostmoth is incoming. But then, oddly, they bring it up after going for an Ocean Loop, which leaves it vulnerable in the active. Now, I know my opponent probably just wants to manually attach to Lapras just in case I manage to get the KO here, and also, let me come in swinging with Boltund probably for the big hit, which will tee them up for an easy KO because Lapras can in fact knock out Boltund in 1 hit. So I use Team Yell Grunt to bounce an energy off of Lapras to help forestall for a turn, grab Tapu Koko Prism Star off of a Quickball, and then attach an Air Balloon to Zapdos, which I then swing in with off of the switch to KO Snom with Thunderous Assault, at least cutting off the prospect of a Frostmoth for a little longer. Now, my opponent is very keen on charging up that Lapras, so they just go ahead and attach, and after weirdly using a Pokemon catcher to gust up my Jirachi, they go for the Ocean Loop to pop up the Keldeo and, accelerate 1 more energy to the Lapras. So on the one hand, Lapras is safe and getting pretty charged up, which is scary, but on the other hand, now Keldeo is facing forward, which is kind of ideal for me because I might be able to grab an easy KO. On my turn, I pop Dance of the Ancients and then use Stellar Wish to grab an Electromagnetic Radar. That radar gets me a Pikarom, which I slap down right away, and a Dedenne, which I'm going to hold for a second. I use Energy Switch to get 1 energy onto Pikarom, and then use Dedenne Change to see some fresh cards. I decided at this point it's probably best to boss up the Lapras, just to bait a KO out of it, and then I manually attach to Pikarom and pass since I know I can't really rush in an attack at this point. Back on my opponent's turn, they slap me with a Marnie, and they get a pretty good hand off of it because they slap down another Lapras V and then evolve the active into the V Max. Now at this point, they're as charged up as they need to be, they're hitting for big damage, so they do in fact go for the KO on my Jirachi, which is just perfect. I bring a Boltund and attach a third energy to it, just kind of fearing that Pikarom might get bossed up next turn and that I'll lose the juice I need to make Boltstorm a KO on anything else. But really it doesn't matter anyway because I actually have enough energy on board to KO Lapras, factoring weakness, and I show that by going for a 380 damage Boltstorm, getting the clean KO and snatching up 3 prizes. Now at this point my opponent still does have a Lapras V and the Keldeo on board, but they don't really have the energy in play, so after going for the Ocean Loop on their turn, I think they realize that the game is over, and they concede shortly after that. The next game pits me against what I assume is a Toxtricity deck. I say assume because my opponent doesn't actually get to set up this game, so I'm not 100% sure on what exactly they were playing with. I lead my Jirachi against a Boltund, and all my opponent can manage to do is attach and pass the turn. On my turn, I set up Tapu Koko Prism Star and Raichu on my bench, followed by a Team Yell Grunt to bounce the energy back to hand, pretty much putting them into the position where they're going to have to go for the Energize, buying me one more turn, or they'll have to attach to something else and hopefully leave Boltund stuck in the active. Next up, I go for a Dedenne change, dumping 2 basic energies and seeing 6 fresh cards. I pop Stellar Wish and grab Birdkeeper for next turn, then I pop in a fresh Jirachi because I have an extra switch handy, and manage to grab an energy switch. I pop Dance of the Ancients to charge up the Raichus, and then I use Energy Switch to prime the Tandem Shock. So obvious play is obvious. I use my remaining switch to send up the Raichus and go for the Tandem Shock, stunning the Boltund and making it easy fodder for a KO next turn. My opponent slaps me with a Koga's Trap, and then drops Crobat V, seeing some fresh cards, and then oddly attaches an Aurora energy to it before passing. I manually attach to Dedenne and then use Birdkeeper to pop it into the active, just so I can manually retreat it and slam the Boltund with a Tandem Shock. So my opponent has basically just the Crobat left. They manually attach to it and then boss up my Boltund, hitting it with a Poison Fang and yes, trapping it in the active. So for my part, I'm not particularly threatened, so I just attach and go for the Electrify, priming the Raichus for their big GX attack. Back on my opponent's turn, they slap down a Trubbish, charge it up with a bit of energy, using a bead actually to accelerate one more for the turn, and then they just go for the Poison Fang again, but even after the poison damage, Boltund is still standing. I manually attach for Boltund, getting the Boltstorm active, and I go for it, and because I have a crap ton of energy on board, I get a clean KO on the Crobat. Now at this point, my opponent has nothing. So while they can bring up the Trubbish and, you know, hit for just enough damage for the revenge KO, they know what's up. After Boltund goes down, I bring up the Raichus, and I decide to be a little BM and go for the massive GX attack, hitting with a big Lightning Ride and KOing the Trubbish for game. This last one isn't much of a game, and that's through no fault of me or my opponent. It's just proof that sometimes you get a bad hand and that's it. To be honest, I thought my goose was cooked because I opened up Pikarom, a bunch of energies, and Dedenne, and I was seriously worried about having to dump a ton of resources early on, especially to avoid getting donked. But once my opponent flipped over the Cramorant, attached a Metal Energy, and passed, I was feeling a little better about my position. Luckily for me too, I had some really good draws, and I managed to get off a pretty flawless combo. So with my opponent just having the Cramorant and the Metal Energy on board, I know that going for the turn 1 full blitz is like the thing to do. So yeah, you better believe I went for it. I'm actually glad I added the air balloons in because they came in pretty clutch. Off of the Dedenne change, I saw literally everything I needed to grab, including the Tapu Koko and energy switch, you know, and it's to the point where I was even able to pop the Hoopa into the active, attach the air balloon, and then manually retreat into Pikarom for the game-winning full blitz. And really, that's it. It was the donkiest of donks. Perfectly flawless combo right off of the start, turning what could have been a very slow start into one of the fastest games I have ever played in this series so far. Ooh, okay. That was a very quick set of games, ladies and gentlemen. A little bit less back and forth than I'm used to, but hey, Pikarom is supposed to be a fast deck, and when my particular Pikarom deck isn't being clunky, it can sometimes serve up speedy wins. It's also kind of nice that Team Grunt is already putting in good work. Energy Denial is so wicked, and I hope we can add in a bit more of that as we get on to the next episode. I think if we can bring in a bit more of that control aspect, we'll be in very good shape for a solid finale. Even if the list isn't ultimately what I want it to be, and by what I want it to be, I mean, can I get 4 crushing hammers, please? But anyway, let's wrap up another week of sealed only Pokemon fun. If you enjoy the show, please like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. Now that I've hit 50 subscribers, you know I'm already eyeing 100, so, you know, help a brother out. I don't know if we can double this channel's subscriber count by the finale, but hey, a guy can dream. And with that, guys, until next time, take it easy.